year 2010 in recognition of high degree of professional competence and technical amen. He is an avid sportsman, having played basketball, volleyball at the common level. He is also a regular cyclist, cycling almost every day and having participated in various events. He is also a drummer and a singer and have published a book on poetry titled Love, Tears and Raindrops. We welcome you, Mr. Kumar at School of Engineering, Tezpur University. So he will speak on Indian Navy, a way of life. So I also welcome family members of Mr. Kumar. So they have accompanied him. Thank you so much for coming this evening. And the stage is yours. Yeah.
Before I start, I would like to, I know the registrar is busy. So, sir, this is from our side, from the Commander-in-Chief, Mr. Naval Command. One of the most heartening things that I've seen after I came here is that some things just don't change.
Sorry for the interruption. And we will try to request our registered University Dr. Virendra sir to say a few words in this program because he is extremely busy. Sorry for the interruption.
I am not too extremely busy, but yes, I was attending one meeting of Prime Minister. I think I am not sure whether you were communicated by your HODs or not, which is going on. And now you know that we have to take photograph that you are attending that meeting. So that I am doing that business on behalf of the university because Vice Chancellor is busy in another meeting for next convocation. Anyway, I welcome Sri Kumarji to and his behalf to this university. Sir, I am grateful to you for taking pain to reach to this remotely located university campus in the greater interest and with an attitude to help my dear students here. You have heard about his brief biodata or rather CV, but which is too enriched and hope that you will get some points to take from his CV for enrichment of your own CV so that you can also dream for such a career after attending or listening to his deliberations on this afternoon. Sir, with your permission, I will take leave again because I have come out of that meeting. Otherwise, I would have put that meeting here itself with the Prime Minister. But this is more preferable for you because it is with some definite intention that he has come here and hope that we will be getting some indications how to approach that type of career in your coming days. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and hope that it will be a successful session for my dear students. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for the insightful words. I would like to request Commander R. Manoj Kumar to come over here and that is yours.
Okay, so like I was saying before, I think it was in 1992 that I passed out from school, and some things just haven't changed. One of the first things that I noticed is that nobody wants to sit in the front rows. Thank you so much for that because that's how a student should be. A student should never be somebody who runs and volunteers and does things which he or she doesn't want to do. So extremely impressed by that. Thank you very much. Because otherwise it would have seemed to be really formal. That somebody standing here in uniform, you got to sit in front. Good. I'm happy about that, and I honestly mean that. Second is that I've given a lot of talks around the place. But I've never given a talk in front of my wife and my daughter. Therefore, I'm extremely nervous today because there is nobody who's a bigger critic than your better half, or what people call as a better half. So she is quite a bit of my. I just hope that I get dinner tonight. So I hope I do well and I rise up to your expectations, and I hope I rise up to your. Alright, so it is like this. I have always dreamed. It's been my dream to come and talk in front of students, specifically from the Northeast. Reason being that I got married to somebody from Itanagar, and when I was in NDA, she was studying in Pune. Long story short, a lot of bullets fired, and they finally got married. So. So since then, it has always happened. I remember the first time that I came down to Itanagar, we crossed Tezpur at that point of time, and Tezpur used to be this really small, desolate town where only that traffic junction in Mission Charali was there. There was nothing else. There was nothing before that. There was nothing after that. And yes, then the Air Force station would come, and then you would suddenly be at Palipar, and that's how desolate and dreary it was. But then, whenever I would talk to people, I would realize that most people do understand and see things about, and I'm talking about pre-internet days. Okay, so we belong to the good old generation where we had to write letters, and you would reach before the letter reached. So those days, people used to ask me a lot of questions as to how is it in the Navy? What is the Navy all about? Since then, I wanted to actually do this. I wanted to come here and try to explain to people as to what is it all about. Look, it's not a career option as far as I am concerned. It shouldn't be a career option because it's not exactly an 8 to 5 gig. It's not about coming in the morning and doing some things and sitting on a computer and going back. It is that as well. So what is it exactly? I mean, in the past 26 odd years of commission service, what I have realized is it's actually a way of life. We need to be able to put ourselves into this mold, into the mold known as the Navy. So why is it different? It's a very common question that gets put across to most of us in uniforms that you must be really very patriotic. Okay. So my answer to that is who's not? No, who isn't? Right from the smallest street vendor to maybe the biggest functionary in this country. Everybody who works, who pays taxes, who dreams, who aspires, who does well, who keeps the place clean, all of us are patriotic. You don't have to wear a uniform to be patriotic. So you don't have to be patriotic to be in the Navy. You just have to be yourself to be in the Navy. To be in any armed forces for that matter. So then comes to the question as to why Indian Navy. So I just give you a very small brief about how it was for me. I come from a very normal family. I was born and brought up in Cochin, which is in Kerala. So I have seen a lot of Navy per se. We lived by the time in Goa as well, so got to understand about what the Navy is all about. So that was my first impression, the first sighting of the Navy. Then came after 12, kya karna hai? So those are the times in 92. You had 3 options as far as career went: engineer, doctor, armed forces. There was nothing else. We did not have hotel management. We did not have any sort of management. We mostly had mismanagement. But other than that, there was nothing much. So 3 career options and 2 channels on TV. Anybody can guess those 2 channels? On and off. So if it's on, that's the channel. If it's off, there's no channel. So that was how it was. So 3 career options. So therefore, armed forces was like a natural progression, and the fact that I had seen enough of Navy in my growing years, that was where it went. the uniform matters. I mean, I think we look the most amazing. Even if we say that within the armed forces, we always say that, you know, ours is the toughest uniform to maintain, but then it looks the best. So after 12, NDA exam which is written by rather which is conducted by UPSC, pass ho gaye, then went for the SSB, passed that as well, passed the medical, got into the merit. And one fine day, it was somewhere in late December '93 that I found myself in an army bus headed for NDA from the Pune railway station. And I don't know how many of you have been to Pune. Early mornings in Pune, specifically in winter, it gets seriously very cold. Specifically for a Mallu who had not seen anything, you know, less than 33 degrees of temperature. So it was about 9 degrees, I think, and I was frozen stiff. We landed up in that place, and then suddenly there's a lot of mayhem which is happening. Everybody's shouting at you, everybody said, you know, telling you to go here, do this, naam likho, ye karo, wo karo. Within a few minutes, we had no hair on our head, and we were like sitting in one place writing our biodata and stuff. And the next memory of mine is I passed out 3 years later. So I mean, that's how amazing it was. It never gave me those 3 years. I never had the time to think about my parents, my siblings. I never had a girlfriend then, so I didn't think about her anyway. Never got homesick, never missed home food, because for that you need to get the time to think about how good that was and ye kitna kharab hai. So never did all those things. After that, like my choice was the Navy. I joined the Indian Navy in '96 November, where we came to Visakhapatnam for the first time for our basic Sea Cadets course that was called. It's a 6-month long period where for the first time, you spend a lot of time on ships. You sail the seas, you have got a small phase where you go around the coast, then you go into international waters, you go abroad. We were lucky enough to see 3 countries then, 5 countries then. We didn't stop at 2 places. We visited the best countries like Mauritius and Seychelles, which is over the Dikra Mauritius and Seychelles, something like that. So then we landed up in this amazing place known as Tanzania. Went to another amazing place called Mozambique, and then landed up in South Africa. So these are the 3 countries that we actually visited. At the end of the 6 months, you're given an option as to which branch do you want. Now here comes it's a huge dilemma, you know, because you heard a lot, but then you haven't experienced it yourself. And you ask somebody, they say, "Acha hai, sabhi kuch acha hota hai, kuch bura nahi hota." My dad always wanted me to be an engineer, so I thought, why not an engineer within the Navy? So that's how I chose and got marine engineering. NDA gives you a BSc degree, so you join the 2nd year of engineering then you do your BTech. After 3 years, you graduate. And like somebody mentioned, like luck would have it. I just the best all-round officer. That's primarily because of the fact that I used to play a lot of sports. I used to participate in various cultural activities and stuff. I wasn't the greatest academically, but yeah. Soon after that, I joined the submarine arm, which was in 2002. And since then, for the past 21 years, I'm here. So this has been my story. And yeah, in between that, I did go to Baba Atomic Research Center, where I was selected to do a master's in nuclear technology. So submariners are actually preferred to go to nuclear technological fields primarily because of whatever you're reading on the internet. So this has been my journey. It's not been very long. It's longish. I think most of you are not 26 years old, so I think it was long enough. So that is how it was. So this has been a small, summary of what I have done in my life. Now I am supposed to. So it is a way of life. That's what I would like to, sort of communicate with you, because if you actually attempt this field with the intention of earning money, then I think there are better options outside. But if you want to be something that people read about in books, you want to be something that you actually see in movies, and I don't know if that's the lingo, rocket while you do it. But I think this would be the case. Yeah, that's not the lingo, that's what my daughter just told me. Alright, so let's start from something really ancient. We have always been a very, we've been a maritime nation with, starting right from the Indus Valley civilization, we've had, shipbuilding industries in places like Lothal. We had maritime empires like Kalinga and Chola, Cheras, Pandyas. I'm sure most of you know that, being very close to places like Balappam, Tawang and other places, you would know a little bit of Buddhism. Well, Buddhism did spread from India to Sri Lanka by the sea and also further on to the, the rest of the Far East. Now, the question is, what does the Indian Navy do? So let me come there first. I will come to specific roles later, but we have about a 7,516 kilometer long coastline, and we've got about 1,200 odd islands which are under our control. So what we do in the Navy is that we are entrusted with the protection of everything that lies within our coastline, within our exclusive economic zones, and also what we do is that we're supposed to give protection to our own assets, our own friendly forces which are transiting through this area. And also we are supposed to monitor things which are known as sea lanes of communication, SLOCs in short. The sea lanes of communication is just like, when you go on the road, you actually follow a certain route. Similarly, ships also, they follow a certain designated route. It's not exactly lane marked, but yeah, it's like if you're transiting from, say, Philippines to Chennai, then there's a certain route which is mapped. So that goes through the Malacca Strait, which is just south of Singapore, and then it comes into the Andaman Sea and finally to Chennai, through the Bay of Bengal. So it's our job to monitor the sea lanes of communication. Now this monitoring can happen in 3 dimensions. Anybody? 3 dimensions. One is on the surface, which is what the ships do. Then one is aerial, which is what the aircrafts can do. And then one more, submarine, subsurface. So that is where most of the action happens. At least I am the proponent for being a submarine master. So these 3 dimensions are used to escort our own assets and as well as provide protection to them, as well as monitor those so that you don't have any sort of an untoward activity which is happening in those areas. We've got about 2 million square kilometers of exclusive economic zone. I'm sure most of you know what that means. These are the places where we can, use to extract mineral resources, etc., etc., etc. So this comes within our jurisdiction as well. Just statistics: 90% of volume of trade within, of India, it comes by sea, and almost 70% by value. Also, we have all these offshore oil, production areas: Bombay High, Kerala, Konkan, Krishna Godavari belt, the Kaveri Delta. 11% of an energy needs are met through offshore oil. We also have a very flourishing, fisheries sector, and we have millions of Indians who rely on this for their livelihood. So now, how do we protect this entire thing? So we protect it using. We have presently about 150 ships and submarines with many more, almost 40 to 50 more in the pipeline. Both ships as well as submarines. We have 235 plus aircrafts of different kinds, which are we've got fighter aircrafts like MiG-29Ks, we've got BAE Hawks, we've got surveillance aircraft like PA type. That's the one on the top there. That's a PA type. Okay, we got MiG-29Ks, which is here. That's an ALH. So we have all these different kinds of aircrafts. We also have submarines. We've got now when we're talking about multi-dimensional capabilities, I'm just again trying to emphasize the point that although ours is a force which is supposed to be a sea-going force, we also operate in the air. We also operate below the waters. Now to ensure that this protection happens and every sort of information is passed on real time, we need to be networked, and our force, the Navy as such, is one of the most highly networked forces, so much so that nowadays you get WhatsApp even at sea. There's one more reason to join the Navy. So you never miss anybody. That's provided you're on ships. If you're on submarines, too bad. Okay, so now like I was coming, I'll just come back to where I started. What all do we do? So fighting wars is just one part of it. What do we do diplomatically? So the idea of any sort of diplomacy is primarily to project your own, to project your power, to primarily show the other friendly nations that these are what your capacities are, these are what your capabilities are. So what you do is that if you have ships which are of a certain make, you would like to go abroad, you'd like to show it to other people that we have these capabilities. Would you like to purchase this, or else? That's one part of it. Second part is that in case you're in trouble, we have these assets to protect you as well. So it is like lending a helping hand to countries other than yourself. Constabulary is in times of law and order situations in certain places. If the Navy is the closest, if the police gets overwhelmed, then we do that as well. And the other thing is disaster relief. Whenever you have floods and other things, you will find the naval teams here, not here as in Deshpur, but in places wherever there is floods. If you remember the recent flood situation that happened in Himachal, so they were our team which were deployed there as well. So these are the primary four roles as far as the Navy is concerned. Okay, so where do we get trained? I'm primarily going to talk about the officer level entries because all of you are going to become graduates. Well, we have got two training academies. I'm from the National Defence Academy. I'm from the 91st course. To give you a reference, I don't know, has anybody heard of a person called Manoj Kumar Pandey who got a Paramveer Chakra during Kargil? Yeah, so he is 6 months my senior, and Vikram Batra is my course. So that's my course. I'm 91st course NDA. So that's one part of it. This is where you have your 10+2, post 10+2, and whoever passes the UPSC exam. If you have to go to NDA, you have to go through that route. There is no other route. Indian Naval Academy, again after 10+2, that's one of the main forms of entries, where again UPSC conducts the same exam. And after that, every course, every officer level entry, the basic training happens at Indian Naval Academy, where you have different types of branches, different various types of commissions, which include short service, permanent commission. Everybody primarily gets trained at the Indian Naval Academy. Okay, now I'll just try to rush you through the various arms that you have. In my introduction, they said I'm from the submarine arms. Now, what do you mean by arms? Arms are primarily different modes of operation, if you may call it that. It's like we have the surface navy which operates ships, we have submariners who operate submarines, we have the naval aviation, and we have the marine commandos. Now within these arms, we have different branches. So we have something known as an executive branch. We have marine engineering, of which I am a part, electrical, education, medical. We also have, I think I missed out the naval architecture, that's also there. Within the executive branch, we have all these specializations: navigation, direction, communication, anti-submarine warfare, gunnery, missile warfare, etc. We also have law, logistics, ATC, NAI, information technology. In the technical branch, we have marine engineering, electrical, aeronautical, naval architecture. And in the naval education branch, these are the people who conduct courses for us, who are the ones who become instructors in these various, higher centers of learning. So they also do courses like this so that they can, train people better. Alright. Now, I thought that, everything else you'll find, on the internet. I thought I need to bring out a little about what a normal day is like. So exactly like how I started, we do not have an 8 to 5 working culture. You have it in certain places. If you are in a shore establishment where you have a fixed routine, but it doesn't mean that you have to reach only by 8, and it doesn't mean that you can leave by 5. So based on operational requirements, the time can vary. It can be you can be on board a ship or a submarine or in these places for days together. So we do conduct all these activities. I mean, on ships we have PT, we got drill which gets conducted, we got lectures, we got that's the pad yoga. So we get yoga also done. Now just coming to actually it looks rather small, but then it's a big part of our lives, you know. All of us after whatever little time you spend here in the college, you guys go back home, so that's a big place, right? Sundar is with us as well. So our living spaces on board is very important. On ships, it's rather nice. You get dormitory type accommodations, something that looks like third AC. Yeah, looks like third AC. Yeah. So something like that. But for senior officers, or commanding officers or heads of departments, you get a small cabin of your own, sometimes attached with a bathroom. On shore, we have multi-storied accommodations like this. On submarines, you sleep where you get space. So that's how it is. So if a practice torpedo gets fired, you get space there, you can sleep there also. So that's how it is. So it's a little difficult, it's a little different there. But one good thing is that, on submarines, nobody has got a fixed space. So it's like first come, first serve. And whatever are the bunks, they always remain hot, because the moment you get up, somebody else sleeps on that. Therefore, it's called hot bunking. It's a pretty interesting thing if you like the smell of sweat. Alright, so I'll just rush through what Navy offers you when it comes to facilities. We have some fantastic hospitals, believe me, right from primary healthcare to the super specialities, that's there, which is there for you and your families. We have schools, we have canteens, we have clubs, sports facilities, outdoors, sailing, horse riding, golf, you name it. We also have cinema theatre, and I think the latest movie that we saw was Jawan. Jawan is the latest movie, yeah. So it's that good, right? Food, I could get from the internet, so don't expect that on a ship. But yeah, I just wanted to show you something. So that's how it is. We got some amazingly trained chefs on board. So much so that some of our chefs actually go and train chefs from really big hotels and vice versa. So we have a sort of a knowledge exchange thing. Therefore, the food on board is really nice, really nice. Okay, so I just thought I'll give you a brief glimpse about various uniforms. So what I am wearing right now, on that side, this dress is the summer working dress, is also known as, in our lingo, it's called 8 alphas. Okay, the one next is called 6 bravos, which is a summer mess dress, which is what you wear when you go for dinner or when you go to attend a party or something like that. The rightmost is, you would have seen the Republic Day parade, anybody on TV? So that's what they wear, that's called dress number 1. One on the left extreme is, this is the latest that we have, it's a camouflage pattern known as number 10 bravos. And the one in the center is called dress number 2, which is our summer ceremonial dress. So, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. I think we've got close to about 12 different dresses that we are expected to wear and maintain. And most of them having some component of white, it becomes a little difficult to maintain. But get used to it. Okay, so once you join the Navy and you are assigned a certain branch, there are 2 kinds of trainings that keep happening. One is for your own professional growth, where, for example, if you're in the gunnery branch, then they will be sending you to the gunnery school, both within India and abroad, for you to learn various strategies, tactics about various weapons, etc., etc. So these are for professional excellence and as well as for internal courses. There are certain promotion-related courses you're supposed to have cleared, certain courses for you to get promoted to the next rank. And the most interesting, actually, for the technical people are these courses which happen in IITs and NITs, and in my case, which happen in BARC. We have association with almost all the IITs in India. So where we do various courses, various MTechs that include computer science, mechanical engineering, structures, computational fluid dynamics, and nuclear technology, communication, underwater sonars, radars, electronics, electrical, dunia bhar hai. So you name a subject and generally that is offered. And 2 years of paid vacations were pretty interesting. And at the end of it, I mean, most of the time it does happen that the Faucis do pretty well because I think, you know, you're going to class after a long time. Most of the cases, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, somebody does his BTech and then immediately does his MTech, he gets bored by the time he's finishing MTech, so his marks are not that great. But somebody does a BTech, does a, you know, a little bit of a job for about 3-4 years, then does MTech, he does really well, so that's how. I guess that's the reason why we do well, huh? Alright, this is something that I'll just run through because I want to finish this part of it as quickly as possible because you know the yawns are getting bigger and I don't want to put you through too much of. So this is what you can find on the internet, different age, different criteria for joining men as well as women. So these days most entries are for both men as well as women, that includes NDA as well as everything else. There are two arms where women are still not permitted, one being Marine Commandos and the other being submarines. We will get there as well, I'm sure. Selection procedures, I'm sure most of you know. We have exams which gets followed by a service selection board interview, medicals, final merit list, and training at INA or NE. This is Sir, what we have done is that we have tried to bring some sort of a parity. We don't want our students to give too many exams. So if you have already given a JEE and if you have a mains score, no, this is for the 10 plus students. Yes, after 10 plus. For the graduate. This is the website joinindiannavy.gov.in. Okay. May the ocean gods be auspicious unto you. That's what Shanno Varma means. So, I know it is difficult to ask questions, but I wouldn't mind trying to answer a few. Before I hand it over back to you, like I said once before, that I always wanted to come here to the Northeast specifically, and your university has been kind enough to invite me, and bestow me this huge honor. So I think it will be, I think I'm duty bound to answer at least a few questions. So that's where I finished, and if there's anything I'd like to answer.
एसएसबी पूछना एसएसबी कैसे करेंगे
Sir, I have a question. Sir, like जितने बार भी इंडियन बजट सिस्टम रिवील होता है, तो मिलिट्री, एयरफोर्स एंड नेवी ये को कुछ इससे मिलता है. तो मैंने चीज नोटिस किया है कि नेवी का बजट हमेशा कम होता है, क्योंकि इंडिया 3 हिस्सों से पानी को गिरा हुआ है. इसका रीजन क्या है?
My God, that's an amazingly deep question, but yeah. See, issue कुछ ऐसा है. हमारा देश 3 साइड पानी से बिल्कुल covered है, और rather we are surrounded by water on 3 sides, वो तो है. But the largest armed force that we have is the army, and उनके numbers they run into millions. तो अगर हम केवल उनकी तनख्वाह की बात करें, तो that in itself will be higher than the naval budget, because ours is a much smaller force. दूसरा बात क्या है कि when it comes to the army, a lot of things happen physically, in the sense that you need the presence of a person at a certain place. Navy is much more of a technologically advanced place where we can monitor a lot of our water bodies being at one particular place. So if, and as you know, when the moment technology, the first time technology comes, it is costly, but then as it develops, it becomes cheaper and cheaper. So it's simpler for us to actually not increase manpower, and that is the reason why we don't require too much of a budget. क्या क्वालिटीज होनी चाहिए? Oh my God. ओके, मैं ना आपको इसको एक अलग तरीके से आंसर करता हूँ. मैं ये आपको ये बताता हूँ कि एसएसबी क्या ढूंढता है. दैट बी बेटर थिंग. ओके, एसएसबी में सबसे पहली बात ये है कि कभी झूठ नहीं बोलना है. ठीक है, मैं आपको रीजन बताता हूँ. वो अभी उन्होंने ना कम से कम 1.5-2 लाख लोगों का इंटरव्यू लिया, और उसमें क्या होता है कि वो आपको एक ही सवाल 25 तरीके से पूछ सकता है, और वो हो सकता है एक के बाद एक पूछ रहा है, और हर एक में अगर आप एक बार बीच में झूठ बोल दिया तो then he'll realize that you're not being true. And second is, don't try to be something you're not. Okay, if you are in a certain, if you are like this, you are like this. You don't need to feel bad about the way that you are. And last but not the least, you should exude a lot of confidence, and you should exude a lot of positive thinking, because ऐसा होता है कि whenever you're in the armed forces, most of the time, I mean, if you're sitting in say headquarters and doing mundane clerical jobs, there's nothing to be, there's not too much to worry about. But then if you're, say for example, like I serve in submarines, I've got another, including me, around 60 people on board. Okay, every decision of mine affects their safety. And if an incident becomes an accident, then you're supposed to bring them out of the situation using everything that you've been trained to do, everything, each and every one of it. So logic and training, it falls in that sequence, you don't blindly follow your training, you follow your logic as you've been trained to do, all right? So you should be able to do this quickly. और इसके बीच में if you start to think कि मैं डूब गया तो क्या हो जाएगा, then you will actually आप सही में डूब जाएंगे. So it's always better to be a little more, you need to be able to practice confidence. I'm not sure if that's a term, but yes, if you need to be able to be a little more confident. You need to exude confidence, rather show confidence. It's like this: if you are leading men and women into battle, knowing fully well that only 30% of you are going to come back, that requires confidence, because you should be able to tell 100% of those who are going that all of you will come back. And they need to be able to believe you, knowing fully well that that's not true. So you need to be able to convince people. You need to be able to tell them that what they're doing is for the greater good. And that's it. So SSB is something like that. SSB also tests your logic a lot, reasoning. जैसे बैंक के exams में होता है ना, it's all written. Logic and reasoning is generally written. In this, it is shown in the sense that there is one particular obstacle, आपको उसको cross करना है, तो एक डंडा और एक रस्सी है आपके पास, आप कैसे cross करेंगे? How do you apply it? That's how it is. The qualities that an officer requires is primarily to be truthful, to have his integrity should be unquestionable. If you have that, all of us have it. All of us have it actually. We are not somebody who is very special. We just found an opportunity and we used it. And training will get you there to a great extent. There are a lot of women in the house. Any questions from the ladies?
लेकिन जो एरिया जहाँ पर अटैक हुआ था, जब मरीन एरिया खाना नहीं, तो मार्केट को क्यों अप्रोच किया?
2611 से पहले हमारे पास NSG और नेशनल सिक्योरिटी गार्ड हब्स का कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं था. NSG was located at one place called Manesar, which is very close to Delhi. तो दिल्ली से उनको मोबिलाइज करके लेके आने में कुछ घंटे लगने थे फर्स्ट. तो our initial idea was to mitigate, मतलब जितना हम damage control कर पाएं इस चीज को और हम इसको कितना हम contain कर पाएं. Second is with regards to why were the Marcos used, and there, see, Marcos operate in marine environment doesn't mean they operate only in marine environment. They can be deployed through a marine environment, through sea, air and land. They can operate as comfortably, I mean, on the surface of the sea, under the sea and on land. In fact, they are trained in counterinsurgency, they are trained in urban warfare, they are trained in all sorts of activities. So, having a highly trained unit right at 25 minutes call, I think that was the best thing that they could have done, because I think because of that, and as you saw, the moment the NSG came, the Marcos pulled back. So it has been handed over, so that was good. I like your line of questioning though. No, it's perfectly fine. I'm happy with the question. I'm really happy with the question.
वायरस कहाँ से आया?
No, my scope is as wide as you want it to be. I'm pretty well read, so I'll tell you.
तो ये बजट से ज़्यादा बोल रहा है।
Yes. 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 You have to speak a little loudly. I'm a submariner. I've got a bad ear. You are in which year of engineering right now? Second. Okay, so the question was, he's in the second year of mechanical engineering. How do you join the Navy? Okay. Get good marks in your engineering. Pass out nicely. Just look for the same website, joinindiannavy.gov.in. Okay. Lot of advertisements will keep coming out. Now I'll tell you where all a mechanical engineer can join. That's possibly what you're looking at. Okay. So mechanical engineer can join in almost everything that I showed you here. You can join the executive branch. You can join the mechanical, that's the technical branch. You can join the armament inspectorate. You can join almost every branch, including logistics. Other than for branches like law and naval education, where you require maybe a little bit of, even naval education you can join. So what you need to do is that you got to apply for that, and there is no entrance exam. It is based on your marks as you pass out of your fourth year of degree. So whatever are your marks, you apply with that. And if you figure in the merit, and there are a lot of people who apply. Sir, it depends because it all depends on the number of people who are applying. But yes, 60% is what we say is the minimum. But at times, if the lowest person who has applied is at 72%, then obviously, suppose we got 30 seats, and there are people who are the lowest among the first, from the first 30, if you see downwards, if 72%, which is the lowest, then that becomes the cutoff. So that's the reason I told you, you'll have to, do well, study hard, and after that is 5 days. Once you get selected for that, 5 days of SSB, your medicals and your final merit. Then about a year's training in the Naval Academy, and you get commissioned. That's all.
Only one more question, everybody. Only one more question.
Hello sir, my name is Shubhankar Chakravarti. I am a research scholar doing PhD in electric vehicle engineering.
In?
Electric vehicle, EV.
Oh,
So my question is that, sir, submarines can dive very deep into the sea. So my question is, as we go deeper into the sea, the pressure increases a lot. So how is the pressure actually maintained inside the, inside the submarine? Actually, what is the technology available?
I like the fact that you brought out that you're a research scholar in electrical vehicles. Actually, submarine is an electrical vehicle. The conventional submarines are actually electrical vehicles because we've got a diesel generator which produces electric power which gets stored in about 240 batteries of 1.2 volts capacity. The amperage is pretty high, and it's like the inverter at home. So for every activity that you require, including running off your propeller, it's run using a motor. So we run on DC. We run on DC. So that's how it works. But coming to your question, a submarine is made out of, generally most submarines have got two hull, as it is known. Hull is basically the structure within which all the equipment is all located. So the inner hull is also known as the pressure hull. The pressure hull is actually made from very specialized steel alloy, which is able to take a lot of compressive load. So as you keep going down, the compressive load keeps increasing, but the factor of safety is very, very high in those designs. Therefore, there is no failure that happens. Most submarines can dive up to about 1,000 feet and below. 300 meters to 500 meters is what most submarines all around the world dive. So, because of the fact that the hull, it keeps deforming and taking shape based on this pressure, the pressure within the pressure hull always remains at atmosphere. So the entire external load is taken by that hull. So that is how it is.
I have read somewhere that some gases are also used whenever the submarine is
Okay. That's not how it is. See, it's not a gas which is used. It's generally compressed air. When the submarine goes down, for it to go down, you need to be negatively buoyant. The buoyancy should be negative for you to be able to drown or sink. So in between these two hulls, the outer hull and the pressure hull, which is concentrated, that space is called the tank space or the ballast tank. So for the submarine to dive, it takes in water in those tanks. It gets heavy, gets negatively buoyant and it sinks below the surface. And then after that, when you need to come back up, so you apply compressed air on top of the tank, the entire water voids from below, you pop out.
So one last question. Sir, actually the propellers of wind, when they rotate actually, they cause a lot of noise. So under the submarines, they are not also wind.
Yes.
Can you tell some ways in which those noises are suppressed?
Can get mitigated? Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. So that noise is primarily known as cavitation noise. Cavitation noise is because at the hub of the propeller, you have a very low pressure, which acts because of the hydrodynamic motion. And there you will find these bubbles get formed. And as they start to move downstream towards the tip of the blades of the propeller, the pressure increases, and therefore these bubbles they implode. So that noise is called cavitation noise. Now to mitigate that, there are various methods. One is called a shrouded propeller, where this particular lower pressure, hydrodynamic lower pressure, is actually maintained for a much longer duration, so that the implosion happens much behind the submarine itself. That is one. Then there are active measures where you can actually increase the pressure in that particular area of the hub by applying air pressure in that area, so that the two of them they get cancelled and there is no cavitation that gets created. But cavitation finally happens. So detection of a submarine or a ship for that matter using passive mechanisms is by cavitation meters, which actually listens for this. Okay, thank you. Thank you guys. I think we are running short of time. But then, sir, I need to thank you most because I have troubled you quite a bit. So I would like to thank you as well as the university because I think I can call you every second day. So thank you very much, guys. Thanks for the questions.
like to express our hearty gratitude from the bottom of our heart. And actually, he has come all the way from Vizag, Visakhapatnam, to make you aware about Indian Navy. I don't think I deserve any thanks from him because they are sacrificing their whole family, their time, every time, their life, always in danger, always ready to serve the nation, always ready to die for the nation, do whatever they can do to their extent possible. So I don't think I deserve a thank you. And we also from India, Air Force also people come here. आप लोग all the very best. Please keep on coming to Tezpur University, and it is very nice that you are aware about this part of the country so much because Madam is from our Arunachal. So thank you very much for coming here. And students, anybody who has not given attendance, they are supposed to give the attendance because this attendance will be sent to the class teacher. Especially mechanical, maths, there are few branches looking for specially. So please give your attendance and please. This program is already over. Thank you very much. You are very successful. And please move out of this moving queue to have your refreshment outside.
चल चल चल